think of a different type of future, a grim one, and Bitcoin has failed. Why do you think that it failed?
Bitcoin's not going to fail. It's going to succeed.
You simply flooded the system with money.
Yes.
Why can't you send a wire transfer past 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon?
From the Satoshi Sci studio, welcome back to Shooting the Shit. I'm Damien.
I'm Andy.
And we're just two guys sitting around a really round table talking about Bitcoin. We are not professionals. We are two guys that like to talk about Bitcoin, and we thank you for tuning along wherever you are around the world. Nostr, YouTube, or otherwise, thanks for the likes, follows, and subscribes, and we appreciate it. Keep up the good job, okay? Our blockchain height right now, 944,959, and that is courtesy of TimeChainCalendar.com. Coming up,
Peter Schiff Gold Guy, Michael Saylor Bitcoin Guy, go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, and research podcaster and AI instructor Lex Fridman says, Satoshi should win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, then and now.
Yeah, and Pantera Capital's Dan Morehead says there's going to be a war between U.S. and China, but not what you think. Those and more coming up.
AI 28 bought a Bitcoin.
Bingo! Woo! Yes! Ha! That's me! That's right! Bingo King, baby!
So, yeah, Peter Schiff, the gold guy, and, of course, Michael Saylor, the Bitcoin guy, going toe-to-toe.
Let's get ready to
They have some words to exchange, and you know what? Rightfully so. They're both very passionate about their beliefs.
For sure.
And, that's what makes them great people, right?
Yep.
Unfortunately, I think Michael's a bit smarter in this case.
Yeah, so what were they talking about?
Well, they were talking about how much stocks had gone up and Bitcoin had gone up and gold and Bitcoin had gone up. And although gold beat Bitcoin in a certain way, if you took it over like a 6 or 7 year period, Bitcoin was up like 35% a year. And that couldn't be beat by anybody.
Yeah.
So, they each had their own views and whatnot.
Yeah. Speaking of views, Lex Fridman thinks that Satoshi Nakamoto should win the Nobel Peace Prize, at least be considered for it. He says the invention is trustless, decentralized monetary system, which has a global impact. And he says that's a good thing, challenging the institutional and financial what had been here forever.
Absolutely.
Right? He says the one hurdle is that it's most times given to people that are alive or known.
Yes.
So we don't know him, hey, they, her, she, it's group.
Right.
We don't know. So I love the story though, and I think thumbs up from this guy.
So Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, said in 2017, Bitcoin is a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we talked about then and now?
Yes.
That was then. And now, guess what? JP Morgan, you can buy Bitcoin through their bank.
Yeah.
And that's a $2 trillion bank.
Talked about ETFs and cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, and something just happened that just made it all real.
We talked about this last week. Remember, we talked about how they were going to be introducing their Bitcoin ETF. Well, they did last week. On day one, Damien, on day one, they did $30.6 million on day one. I don't even know what they've done after that, but that was day one.
Oh, wow.
A $2 trillion assets under management company, though.
Well, he said it, so there it is.
Yeah.
Dan Morehead of Pantera Capital said there's going to be a war, and that war is going to be who has more Bitcoin between U.S. and China. What is going to happen is the competition between these two countries is going to end up putting such an incredible supply squeeze, especially when you have people like the Strategy Bs, the Michael Saylors, and the Meta Planets, and all these other companies that are buying up. So they say that, it's going to be a race to who has more Bitcoin.
And it will. And it will be, a lot of people say it'll be a gentle climb up, because, it won't be a gentle climb up. It will come to a point where that supply is gone. We're down to 1.8 million now. That's the lowest it's been in 7 years. And it only takes a couple of big buyers like the Strategies or the Chinas or the U.S. who are talking about repricing their gold and buying Bitcoin, and many other countries around the world, they're talking about it. So, there's just so much demand coming that supply won't even be able to keep up.
No.
It'll be a meteoric rise.
They're already buying more in one day than is mined in a day, so that is happening.
Mined in a month.
In a month, yeah. Yes. We got more fun stuff coming up. Video segment is next.
Walking on a road of gold, shimmering in the morning breeze. A million coins beneath our feet, humming like the honeybees. Bitcoin joy, Bitcoin song, we keep on moving along.
So Michael Saylor is one of the biggest proponents of Bitcoin. He is the CEO, the head guy of Strategy B, which is just buying up Bitcoin left, right, and center. And he was on an interview and it was asked of him, what do you think happens if Bitcoin fails? He was having no part of that.
No, not at all.
Why do you think that it failed?
Bitcoin's not going to fail. It's going to succeed because Bitcoin represents economic empowerment to everybody on the planet. Bitcoin represents a protocol for economic prosperity. It's kind of like we're speaking English and you're saying, well, what if people stop speaking English or just stop speaking? What if people stop speaking to each other? I don't think they're going to stop speaking to each other. If you had Arabic math or you had math, what if people stop using math? I think they'll keep using math. I think they'll keep using English. I think they'll keep using Bitcoin because people need math to create machines that work and to engage in commerce. And they need language to coordinate with each other. And they need Bitcoin if they're going to engage in rational economic transactions.
It's like English and math.
No, it's just, when the chips are down, that's when you buy more. And trust me, that is a Warren Buffett theory. That's what you do. When the streets are full of blood, you buy because people are freaked out, right? I mean, and talk about buying. You know what he bought today? 13,927 Bitcoin for almost $1 billion.
Wow.
One of his largest.
Well, when you got that spare change kicking around.
Well, he can convert, right? He's got a couple of companies, right? Between that and Strategy and his other one, he can convert debt. He can convert all kinds of things. So, he's right into it.
Yeah. Speaking of fiat.
Oh, yeah, this is Powell, Jerome Powell, chair of the Federal Reserve. So they're asking him, where does money come from? Like, when you print it, what happens? What's it backed by? Check it out.
You simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. So we as a central bank, we have the ability to create money digitally.
So the word digital, he hung on that a couple of times.
Yes.
But when you do that, and we've talked about this in all these other countries that are out there where their dollar is worthless, and that's where Bitcoin saves them.
That's right.
So when you print the money and you have nothing to back it, that raises inflation.
Yes.
Makes the dollar useless.
Yeah.
And they, at least they're honest about it. I appreciate that. I'm tired of the bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it's true.
But that's what's happening, right? And so the dollar is devaluing all the time whenever they, put M2 money into the market, right? Which is money that's coming in lately, right now, sort of thing. It helps with risk on assets like Bitcoin, like the NASDAQ, right? It will help with those two.
Yeah.
So anyways, more fresh money coming into the system and more money going towards risk on assets because of it.
Speaking of money, Eric Trump said something very interesting is when banks hold on to your money, you can't do a quick wire transfer. Let him tell the tale. It's awesome.
The big banks have been an absolute monopoly over our financial system for years. You and I have joked about it 1,000 times. Why can't you send a wire transfer past 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon? You know why? Because the big banks would love to take hundreds of billions of dollars and have it sit there and clip interest off of it over the course of a long weekend, as opposed to letting you just efficiently move that money using modern day technology, and have it in a separate wallet 2 seconds later. They want to be able to use their money. They want to be able to arbitrage their money. And so, the big banks are doing everything they can to stop some of the crypto legislation for obvious reasons.
I never thought about that, Andy. They hang on to your money. If it's billions, the interest you're going to collect over a couple of days goes right to the bank. I never thought of that before.
It's like you're paying your bills on your phone or your computer or your iPad or whatever, and you pay your bills, and then about 3 or 4 days later, the company comes back and says, "Hey, we got your money." Well, who's hanging on to it in the meantime?
Yeah.
The bank, collecting interest on that money, mind you. Against how many people in one branch, against how many people in the country. Like, this is a huge moneymaker for them.
That's why this self-custody is such a huge deal, and it cuts out all of that. You can instantly send whatever you want. If you have it, you can send it as long as there's a recipient. Done. Deal. Anyway, a really cool story coming up because there's lots of stories out there right now.
Yeah, there is. And this is Adam Back. He's a good old cyberpunk buddy, been in the industry for absolutely years. A lot of people, especially lately, are coming back at him. Hey, are you sure you're not Satoshi Nakamoto? Well, that's coming up.
So, Andy, you have been part of a group in Calgary, a Bitcoin group called YYC. Maybe a quick little shout out, and then we'll get to some more events.
Absolutely. They meet once a month. I think their next meeting is actually, I think they're off this month, but May 9th. I'll double check on that down at the Derrick Gin and Mill in downtown Calgary on 8th Avenue. 6:30. Group's really growing. I started going there and there was a handful of people. Now there's, be 30, 35 people showing up. And it's just cool to hang out with your buddies and talk about everybody's perception of Bitcoin, which is 30 different perceptions, which is really fun.
Yeah. Well, they say opinions are like armpits. Everybody's got a couple. So, hey, if you got something going on in your Bitcoin universe, be sure to let us know. Bimblebit.com. Shoot us a message of what the event is, where it is, when it is, and we'll be sure to get it on the air. In the meantime, let's get to our Bitcoin event calendar.
Satoshi Quotes. Episode 10. It is a global distributed database with additions to the database by consent of the majority. Satoshi Nakamoto.
Hey again, thank you so much for your likes, follows, and subscribes wherever you're watching. We sure appreciate it. And if you feel so generous, don't forget to hit us up with a little donation on our QR code. All right, Mr. Adam Back, Cypherpunk man, what's going on?
There's so many people that are coming around again. This happened before. No, you know so much. You're so calm. People understand what you're saying. They believe in what you're saying. And it's like, no, but I'm not Satoshi Nakamoto. I'm not. Well, check this out.
How often do people ask you if you are Satoshi Nakamoto?
All too often, but for the record, I'm not. But of course, it's a fascinating story for Bitcoin, and I think the fact that Bitcoin's, there's some discussion about whether Bitcoin is a discovery or an invention. So I like to think about it as a discovery because it's a fundamental design concept, right? Many things that start physical, like the ignition of a car or machines, they are possible to make more efficient and vastly improved with digital technology. So you can think about Bitcoin like digital gold. And the building blocks and concepts, you would think that could have been discovered by somebody else eventually. So I like to think of it as a discovery, but nevertheless, the fact that Satoshi stopped participating very early in Bitcoin's release, I think it was 2011 or something, he stopped participating in the forums, is actually a positive for Bitcoin because it makes it feel more like a discovery.
Gosh, he's a soft-spoken man. He would have been a great librarian.
Yeah, he just really is. He's a man that you think you can sit down and have an honest conversation with the guy. Very rarely gets excited or anything like that. Just kind of tells it like it is. And I like that about the guy.
Yeah, me too. Maybe one day we'll have him on the show.
Wouldn't that be nice?
All right. Before we go, we're going to show you a still. This is the very first Bitcoin conference. Goes back to 2011 in Prague, Czech Republic. Okay? There's a couple people in there. And then we kind of zoom ahead to 2025 with 30,000 people in attendance. Yeah. And that is just an idea of how this thing is growing.
How that's grown in 14 years. I mean, it was only developed in 2009. So they had, 30, 50 people in the audience 2 years later. And now you're talking, quite a few years later.
We went to Vegas and we could not believe the capacity. It was at some point standing room only.
And multiple things going on at the same time in different conference rooms. And
stuff. Yeah. Well, that's it for shooting the shit, my brother. I'm Damien.
I'm Andy.
We're just two guys sitting around a table talking about Bitcoin right here on Bimblebit.com.
Cheers, mates.